Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I just left the attorney's office, immigration. So, I'm going to share some details with you all about some of the commonly asked questions about immigration. She's also agreed to do an interview with me, hopefully next week. I'm trying to get my stuff done, taken care of, and she's going to do an interview. So, here's some basic information and some new updates. I might be the first one to actually have some new information regarding the 6 months. Um, so let's get into it. So, right quick, my visa, my tourist card, FMM. So you don't necessarily really get a tourist visa. It's an FMM card. Um, it expires on July 9th, which is Saturday. So I've been trying to figure out some opportunities and options to get this visa without leaving Mexico. Previously, I did an extension by going back and forth to Campeche, and we had to go back there 3 times at the immigration office because word on the street was it was simpler to do it there versus getting it done at the immigration office in Merida, which they tended to not approve them like they did in Campeche. But word on the street from an attorney is they're really not approving them so easily like they did while we were in a full pandemic state. And now they're requiring financial statements and all of that. So my other option was I was going to fly out the country to Guatemala, which was cheap. Airline tickets for about $150 a person to fly into Guatemala, stay for a week or so, and then come back. But I didn't really want to do that because now, at this moment, there's a crisis with the airlines where shortage of staff, shortage of pilots, and folks' flights are getting canceled. People's being stuck in the airport for days at a time, and I'm trying to save money and not spend excess money by having to stay in hotels for 2 and 3 days because the airlines are messed up. So that kind of threw that out. Which also the other option was again the extension, but it's going to cost us a couple $100 a person. Which for 4 of us, you're looking at anywhere from $800 to $1,000 US, and I'm like, I'd rather use that and fly home and see family and see kids and all that, and my mom. So, but again, that was derailed because of the chaos at the airport. Didn't want to do that either. So Guatemala was cheaper than, say, trying to fly to Atlanta, $400 or $500 a person, and then $400 to $500 to come back. So the other option, so we were told that possibly we could do, because of Haley's health condition, we could probably get some type of medical visa, which that's even more complicated. The approval rate the time frame may take up to a year or so to be approved or denied. Lots of paperwork. They do put you in a safe status if while they are investigating and checking things out to make sure you're good. So that seemed a little bit more complicated than it was worth. So this new information came up. I don't know if y'all know. I don't know if we told you this, but when Nikki arrived, they gave her 6 months on her tourist card. And I've also met 2 other people who've come in, and without asking for 6 months, they got it. And so I was like, did something change? And so apparently this, according to the attorney that I just walked out my office, and let me stress this out. To spend 45 minutes with this attorney here in Mexico was 500 pesos, which is about $25 US. You're not getting that in the States. You know what I mean? You're gonna lose a shirt, some pants, might even lose an arm and a finger trying to see an attorney in the States. So another great reason to love Mexico, and because of this beautiful park. Look at this. See them trees? I know I digress. Look at that. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So anyhow, to get back on point. So she told me this. There's been a lot of, since they remember some months ago, they implemented they updated their system, and they were not giving folks 6 months because a lot of folks was abusing the system. And so when you came to that border, you didn't know what you got. You might have gotten 7 days, you might have gotten 2 weeks. You didn't know what you got until you got here, and depending on the agent. So apparently there's been a lot of complaints to the governor's office, and people saying that, hey, this is causing a humanitarian issue or humanitarian crisis. So apparently a memo went out to all of the immigration officers, I guess particularly the ones at the borders, basically saying, hey, we're gonna kind of go back and give folks 6 months. Now, imagine legally she's not able to say that, but it was straight from her mouth, directly from a contact at immigration, that they are doing 6 months again. And that explains why many folks that have been coming into Mexico that I've been meeting up with have been getting the 6 months automatically without asking. So what we're going to do is, and she also advised that the simplest solution, she said, because this also applies at the border at Belize, cross over into Belize and come back, and we'll get a new FMM card, ideally and hopefully for a full 6 months. So that's the route I'm going to take, and we'll probably leave sometime soon. So that's what we're going to do, and that won't cost us anything. So, and that keeps money in my pocket, and it's not too much of an inconvenience. It's about 4 hours away, and we get a chance to see Belize and that side of Mexico, which when we do that, I'll take y'all with me to see that side of town. So that's the game plan. That's what we're going to do. Alrighty, so change of plans. Don't go to Belize. Don't listen to anything I say. Whatever I say, this is just an update right quick. Whatever I say, I advise you to research it for yourself. In order to get in Belize, one, I'm just reading this from the website, fully vaccinated travelers no longer require a negative test, but must show proof of vaccination for entry into Belize's airport, land borders, or seaport. Or if you don't have that, you're going to have to be tested on site there. And also they require mandatory health insurance. I think it's something like $18. I just saw that online. So it's a little more complex than just riding over the border. Plus, riding over the border and turning right back around, or it's spending the night for a day, might raise some suspicion. The only thing that might help me would be that letter, but I don't know. I mentioned before when we got here to Merida, it was never my plan to live in Mexico. We were only supposed to be here about 3 to 6 months, and ended up just staying. So I got a visa extension one time, and it set me back probably about $700-800. I can't remember. And I had to go back and forth 3 times to compensate, and I don't want to jump through those hoops. Plus, within the next month or so, within 30 days or less, I do plan to go back to the U.S., visit family, and I don't want to just throw that money away to get an extension that really goes away once you once you leave the country again. So once we go back to the States to see family, it'll cancel that out. That goes away, so it's just a waste of money. So I don't know. I am talking to one more attorney. Just want to explore one last option. So that's what we're doing. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Investigate Belize if you're leaving. Anywhere you go, investigate what their requirements are and check it all out. Don't take my word for anything. Just assume the information I'm giving as even though it may be accurate and current, it's important that you check for yourself, because this stuff does change on a regular basis. And I just had a conversation with Mo, and she kind of warned me on those details. So I got a lot of other information about some different visa options. I'll probably make a separate video, and we'll talk about that at another time. And also we'll be interviewing her in the coming week or two, and y'all can get information firsthand directly from her, and hopefully y'all find that helpful. So what else? So the 6-month thing looks like it's a thing. And so when I get home, I'm gonna make another video about some of the other options that we discussed. I want to write my notes out better on paper, so that way I'm not all over the place, and make sure I cover all the points. For example, is it required to leave? So if you come here and you decide you like it, do you have to leave the country to apply for residency? So I'll talk about that in the next video or in the upcoming video. Also, are there any workarounds to other visa options to stay longer that you can apply for? Can you work in the country legally? What are the loopholes? Are there any options for working here? So I'll talk about that briefly based on what she told me as well. And so stay tuned for that next video, and we'll get you going. As always, if you find our content helpful and useful, if it's helping you out, please consider making a donation. Cash App, $ CartessRoss, Zelle, my email address, cartess@CartessRoss. I got it all on the screen and in the descriptions below. cartess@CartessRoss.com. If you'd like to make a credit card donation, visit the site. MoveAbroadAndThrive.com. You'll see a link at the top that there, donations. Click that, and I appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll keep you posted.